the top 100 S&P 500 stocks, just be in the top 20th percentile, you've done far better.
That's exactly right. It is about stock picking because an index buys the good, but it also buys the bad. And if you look at areas, last time we were on, we talked a little bit about the energy stocks, and you cited that we're right back to where we were from the standpoint of the commodity. Those stocks have done terribly this year, even though it's a relatively small weight in the S&P 500. That's subtraction from addition. Everything else has done so much better.
Is there, and you can't talk individual names, but Are there any stocks in the energy sector at all that have looked attractive to you, that will look attractive to you from a macro perspective? Are you poking around the energy names?
That's the nice thing about focusing on a metric like return on invested capital. It keeps you out of areas like energy because those companies are not disciplined in the way that they allocate capital. You know this.
But they're changing. I mean, there's been a lot of invested capital. There just hasn't been a lot of return on that.
There you go. And when we see the evidence to prove otherwise, then we'll get some interest.
Because a lot of these stocks have been sold off for sort of an exogenous reason, which is that many institutions can't hold or won't hold these ESG, environmentally, social governance. In other words, no fossil fuels.
Right.
So they've been dumping it. So a lot of these stocks are trading at valuations the same as if oil was at $20 or $25 per barrel because they've just been sold on, not for fundamental reasons, but just because entire groups of massive investors have avoided the fossil fuel industry. At some point, I would imagine that flush is going to make these names just too cheap to avoid, or maybe not.
You know, that could be, but here I'll give you this to consider. To me, the energy industry today is kind of where we were with airline deregulation. You know, the barriers to getting into the energy industry have always been high, but because we've taken down a lot of the regulatory barriers, the companies that are in the space already are free to do what they want, drill where they want. So there is no discipline. There's no OPEC equivalent on price discipline in the United States. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, the return is a secondary consideration to finding oil.
Yeah, that's well said. Listen, I mean, it's trust me, the industry, they're struggling to find solutions as well. Not good enough. We appreciate it, by the way, because we're going to do the whole show with a bunch of stats. 40 stocks have gained in the S&P 500 have gained more than 50% this year.
And that's a lot different than it was during the FANG period in 2015 when you only had 5 stocks driving.
And by the way, those 5 stocks drove all these ETFs up as well. So we'll see what happens. Dan Veru, Practical Advice, always appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, well, we are just getting started, of course, and here's what's ahead. Live reports from both Beijing and Hong Kong, where both celebrations and protests are underway, marking China's 70th anniversary under communist rule. And then later, if you like a good spy novel, then this real-life corporate story is for you. A top Credit Suisse executive out of a job this morning after an espionage scandal. It's the weirdest story of the day, and we're going to bring it to you. But first, as we head to break, let's check out the best and the worst performing Dow stocks in the third quarter. Look at that. The old Apple, but Procter & Gamble rocking, tied with Apple for the best so far in the third quarter. Nike up there as well, bringing up the rear. You got Cisco, you got Pfizer, and you got more. Stay tuned. We are back with Worldwide Exchange right after this.
This CNBC program is sponsored by
Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden.
Hard breakfast. Tom Hanks is our special guest.
You're either being punished or rewarded. I'll let you decide.
I did do a whole show of grease on my front lawn when I was a kid. We charged everyone 10p. We raised a fiver, and I gave it to Bishop's Waltham Gymnastics Club towards a new crash mat.
Do they get the crash mat?
I mean, it took a couple more years, but yeah.
It does happen to normal people like you. You've won £20,000. Well done.
I love this game.
Hard breakfast
with Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden. Weekdays from 6:30. Listen on your radio, global player, or smart speaker.
Play hard. The relaxing sound of fresh, cold running water. And you can have it in your kitchen. With amazing savings on Samsung fridge freezers at Currys PC World. Like the RB31 with its chilled water dispenser for only $399. Or upgrade to the Samsung RS8000 American-style fridge freezer with water and ice dispenser. A huge 609 litres of storage space. At just $104.9. How relaxing. At Currys PC World. Energy rating A+. T's and C's apply.
I want Poppy to play cricket for England.
I want Sam to stop screaming.
I want Joe to live a little.
I want Naomi to live a lot.
I want Becky to invent a cure for the common cold.
Whatever the future holds for your children, Vitality Life Insurance want to make it happy, healthy and secure. So when you take out our Wellness Optimizer, you'll get up to 40% off your life insurance premiums.
I want the twins to keep on being happy.
I just want whatever the twins are on.
Just search Vitality Life Insurance. Additional product, minimum monthly premiums and conditions apply.
We spoke to Nigel and Paulette from Lincoln about BT's complete Wi-Fi.
The boys' bedrooms are both in the attic. They do a lot of gaming, they do a lot of streaming.
Yeah.
They get the same strength of signal now in the attic that we get downstairs.
It was always dropping out, and we don't have that now. The children still get frustrated when they lose at things, but that's completely different.
Nigel, Paulette and the boys are 4 more happy BT customers with complete Wi-Fi that guarantees a Wi-Fi signal in every room.
Up to 3 discs to guarantee Wi-Fi or £20 off your bill. Terms apply.
You love TuneIn for live breaking news from CNN, MSNBC, Fox, CNBC, and more. But when you can't catch your favorite show as it airs, it might just be a click away as a podcast. Search your favorite news station to explore all the on-demand news shows on TuneIn.
All right, welcome back and good morning. 5:13 here on the East Coast, and stocks coming off their best 9 months to beginning year since all the way back in 1997 when the internet was still a dial-up modem away from fun. Futures right now indicating more gains ahead. Dow implied open up 95. So as we noted, no RBI at the end of the show because the entire show is going to be an RBI of fantastic stats. So we know it's been a good year. This year's standouts. So what have been the best major asset classes this year? Well, guess what takes the top spot? Yep, it is Bitcoin. Bitcoin up 126% this year on the Coinbase exchange. Obviously, well off its $20,000 peak. I get it. Don't send the hate tweets. But Bitcoin has been great this year. The NASDAQ 100, it is up 22% this year. Crude oil and the S&P 500, they're tied at 19% gains, although the S&P 500 has dividends, which moves that above 20%, and the Dow up 15%. It has been a good year across the board for nearly every major asset class. All right, now to this morning's top global story. China's president speaking in Beijing, saying, quote, "No force can stop China or his people." But in the meantime, Hong Kong protesters are marking China's National Day with demonstrations. We have live reports from both cities. Let's begin with Eunice Yoon, who is in Beijing covering a massive military parade. Eunice.
Thanks so much, Brian. Well, President Xi Jinping's message to his people in the world today is China is great again. Xi spoke at the start of the military parade marking the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic, and he praised China for its achievements, especially under Communist Party rule. He said, "No force can stop the Chinese people and the Chinese nation forging ahead." At the same time, President Xi reiterated Beijing's commitment to peace, and that message was in contrast to the massive display of military hardware today here in the Chinese capital. The parade featured an intercontinental ballistic missile called the DF-41 that's said to be capable of striking any target in the U.S. and was displayed for the first time. President Xi also sent a veiled warning to Hong Kong, where anti-Beijing activists have been holding protests all day, stressing that the leaders here are committed to one China, and of course reminding the territory of Beijing's military might with that display today. Now, for investors who hope to gain insights into China's economic policy or the trade war, there wasn't a whole lot in President Xi's speech. President Xi said little about economic reforms or China's international role for that matter, and that's been suggesting to many that investors should continue to expect a hard line from Beijing. Now, this is the political backdrop of the trade talks, which are set to take place next week in Washington. Vice Premier Liu He is, of course, expected to lead the Chinese team, as he has. He'll be coming off this powerful party event, however, where the messaging is that China won't get pushed around by other countries, and that could potentially limit the flexibility for the negotiators, who cannot be allowed to show the Communist Party as a weak party. Brian.
Yeah, Eunice Yoon in Beijing, by the way, joining us by phone because we know you have restrictions on cameras and even opening a window over that parade. Eunice Yoon, thank you very much. Well, they are not celebrating in Hong Kong. Quite the opposite. Protesters there clashing with police, a rare workday clash. And that's where we find CNBC's Sherry Kang. Sherry.
Thank you very much, Brian. So, yes, pro-democracy protesters, at least here in Hong Kong, are, quote, mourning the National Day holiday here. And I just want to explain where I am. I am in Kmart Park, looking very peaceful in my backdrop, but that can be quite misleading because over the last hour or so, my crew and I have been trying to find a position that's tear gas free, somehow violence free. It has been impossible because so many rounds of tear gas has been used in many different parts of Hong Kong on the island part where I am, and a lot of protesters have been really fluid in their be water mode. So that's sort of an explainer of where I am. And in the backdrop behind me, we see smoke coming out of two different buildings on each side behind me. So that goes to show how it's a very smoky celebration here in Hong Kong of China's National Day, the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. In the meantime, we keep hearing a number of fire trucks once again being deployed, perhaps to put out some of the fires that are in reports at this point. And of course, we are also seeing a report that suggests that one protester has been hit by a live round shot fired by a police officer. Now, CNBC is trying to confirm that. We did reach out to PR office of police. They didn't confirm that information, saying that they are still gathering information internally at this point. Brian, back to you.
All right, Sherry Kang in Hong Kong. Be safe there. Sherry, thank you very much. All right, on deck, the most bizarre story of the day. A top executive at a major European bank out, charged with spying. It's not a novel. It's real life. And the story is next. But first, as we head to break on what has been a big first 9 months of the year, here are your top sectors as we go to break. Utilities, real estate, consumer staples. They have been red hot. More of these big money stats all show. And we are back right after this.
What is your lotion wish?
We could play epic music, or we could speak in an overdramatic tone, or even set off fireworks. But that's just not smarty. Instead, we let our offer do the talking. Right now, you can grab 25% off our unlimited data SIM. That's just $18.75 a month with no speed restrictions, no credit check, and no long contract to tie you in. Now that's smarty. Just search Smarty Mobile and switch today. It's easy. Offer available for a limited time only. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
At Harefield Hospital's private facilities, we provide short-notice heart and lung appointments whenever you need us, along with advanced diagnostics and pioneering treatments with our leading experts. Whether it's a heart or lung health screening, or to see one of our expert heart and lung consultants, we provide you with specialist private healthcare, quickly, expertly, and conveniently. Book a private appointment today at Harefield Hospital by visiting rbhh-specialistcare.co.uk.
The relaxing sound of fresh, cold running water. And you can have it in your kitchen with amazing savings on Samsung fridge freezers at Curry's PC World, like the RB31 with its chilled water dispenser for only $3.99, or upgrade to the Samsung RS8000 American-style fridge freezer with water and ice dispenser. A huge 609 litres of storage space at just $104.9. How relaxing at Curry's PC World. Energy rating A+. T's and C's apply.
Searching for a more memorable short break? Fly from London Heathrow to Cork from $55.99 each way as part of a return trip with Aer Lingus. Step off the plane and into a warm welcome in Cork. Surround yourself with breathtaking coastal views. Soak up the culture of Cork City, or head to the colourful town of Kinsale and indulge in the best seafood around. Smart enjoys a short break in Ireland. Smart flies, Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offers subject to conditions and availability.
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. This means that travelling to the EU will change. You'll need to check online if your passport is valid for travel to Europe. If you're planning on driving, you'll need to check if you have the right documents to drive. And make sure your travel insurance covers all your healthcare needs. To keep your trip on track, check what you need to do at gov.uk/Brexit. Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October.
All right, welcome back. Well, here is the most bizarre story of the day, maybe the most bizarre story of the year. Credit Suisse says its chief operating officer and head of security have resigned, effectively forced out over a decision to spy on a former star banker and head of wealth management who left to join rival UBS. An outside investigation found that Pierre-Olivier Bouet ordered the surveillance without telling the CEO or the board. No evidence was found to suggest the banker tried to poach Credit Suisse employees or clients. Now, how is this uncovered? Well, check this out. The banker somehow discovered that he was being followed in Zurich 2 weeks ago. He apparently confronted the individual, which led to a chase and then a physical altercation. Brave banker. The incident is raising questions about Credit Suisse's CEO. Financial Times says he and the banker had a rocky relationship. Get this, if it wasn't weird enough, partly stemming from a personal dispute over homes they own in a wealthy suburb of Zurich. Spying, homes, billions, bankers. John Grisham, are you watching Worldwide Exchange? There's your next book. All right, coming up, the House Intelligence Committee has subpoenaed President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, all amid the impeachment inquiry. The headlines, investors need to know, next. But as we head to break, some more stats to make you more smarter than everybody else. Not everybody was a winner in third quarter. Here are the worst performing sectors, healthcare, and of course, what else? Energy can't get out of its own way, down 7% this year. But hey, the rest of the stats are good. We got more coming up as Worldwide Exchange returns.
Beyond the routine checkups,
LinkedIn Learning offers more than 14,000 online courses to help you achieve your goals. Its short video tutorials cover business, technology, and creative skills employers look for at every level, all taught by real-world industry experts. And new courses are added every week. Plus, LinkedIn Learning is personalized, recommending courses based on your interests and skills. Start your free trial at linkedinlearning.com. Cancel within the first month to avoid any charges.
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. If you buy items from EU suppliers or sell to EU customers, there'll be new requirements affecting businesses of all sizes. You'll need an EORI trader number and know how to make a customs declaration. You'll also need to make sure you have the right supporting documents for the goods you buy and sell. Find out more about how to prepare. Follow the step-by-step guide at gov.uk/Brexit-traders.
today your information is more exposed than ever. When you shop, sign in, or browse, you could be vulnerable to cybercriminals. More online threats demand more protection. That's why new Norton 360 provides multiple layers of protection, combining device security, secure VPN, password manager, and cloud backup all in one solution. Get new Norton 360, starting at $24.99 for the first year.
Searching for a more memorable short break? Fly from London Heathrow to Cork from $55.99 each way as part of a return trip with Aer Lingus. Step off the plane and into a warm welcome in Cork. Surround yourself with breathtaking coastal views, soak up the culture of Cork City, or head to the colourful town of Kinsale and indulge in the best seafood around. Smart enjoys a short break in Ireland. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden.
On breakfast. Tom Hanks is our special guest. You're either being punished or rewarded. I'll let you decide.
I did do a whole show of grease on my front lawn when I was a kid. We charged everyone 10p. We raised a fiver and I gave it to Bishop's Waltham Gymnastics Club towards a new crash mat.
Do they get the crash mat?
I mean, it took a couple more years, but yeah.
It does happen to normal people like you. You've won £20,000. Well done.
I love this game.
Breakfast
with Jamie Theakston and Amanda Holden. Weekdays from 6:30. Listen on your radio, global player, or smart speaker.
Play hard.
All right, welcome back and good morning. Let's get a check on some of this morning's other top headlines outside of the world of money and business. And for that, we welcome NBC's Philip Mena, who is in New York. Good morning, Philip.
Hey, Brian. Good morning. The Trump administration is now fully embroiled in the impeachment inquiry this morning. NBC News has confirmed that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was among the officials listening in on that July phone call when President Trump asked the leader of Ukraine to do him a favor and look into his rival Joe Biden. That disclosure casts a harsh new spotlight on the State Department in the House impeachment probe. And Attorney General William Barr is also under intense new scrutiny this morning after the Washington Post reported that he personally asked foreign officials to aid an inquiry into the work of U.S. intelligence agencies during the 2016 election. This comes on the heels of an NBC News report that President Trump pushed the Australian Prime Minister to help Barr gather information on the origins of the Mueller probe. Meanwhile, House Democrats are now zeroing in on the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. The House Intelligence Committee issued a subpoena to Giuliani, seeking his text messages, phone records, and other communications related to his dealings in Ukraine. A lot going on in Washington today. Brian, back to you.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend lately. Just throwing that out there. Philip, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right.
All right.
On deck, an important new report on what companies are doing the best job of closing the gender gap. Did your company make the cut? Stay tuned to find out. But first, I want to check out utilities. Yeah, used to be thought of as boring, are now on a 6-quarter winning streak, their longest since 1995. More stats like that as Worldwide Exchange
The ISM readings, the ISM manufacturing reading, for example.
Today's big number, 427,170. That's how many Toyota RAV4s were sold in the U.S. last year, making it the most popular selling non-pickup truck vehicle in 2018, according to Car and Driver.
LinkedIn Learning offers more than 14,000 online courses to help you achieve your goals. Its short video tutorials cover business, technology, and creative skills employers look for at every level, all taught by real-world industry experts. And new courses are added every week. Plus, LinkedIn Learning is personalized, recommending courses based on your interests and skills. Start your free trial at linkedinlearning.com. Cancel within the first month to avoid any charges.
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. If you buy items from EU suppliers or sell to EU customers, there'll be new requirements affecting businesses of all sizes. You'll need an EORI trader number and know how to make a customs declaration. You'll also need to make sure you have the right supporting documents for the goods you buy and sell. Find out more about how to prepare. Follow the step-by-step guide at gov.uk/Brexit-traders.
Strength and things. Strength and things. Strength and things. Strings and things. Strings and things and strings and things. Strings and things. Strings and things.
Now there's a whole range of strings and things called strings and things, including cheese strings, yollies, and new cheese shapes. Find them all in the cheese and yogurt aisle.
Strings and things. We could play epic music, or we could speak in an overdramatic tone, or even set off fireworks. But that's just not smarty. Instead, we let our offer do the talking. Right now, you can grab 25% off our unlimited data SIM. That's just $18.75 a month with no speed restrictions, no credit check, and no long contract to tie you in. Now that's smarty. Just search Smarty Mobile and switch today. It's easy. Offer available for a limited time only. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
Daddy, you know my birthday party?
Yes.
Can we do painting?
Of course.
And can we have fireworks?
Absolutely.
And can everyone in Year 4 come?
The more the merrier.
You're very relaxed about this.
At John Lewis Finance, we've crafted our premier home insurance with real care, so it provides accidental damage cover for those unexpected mishaps. We're also a Which recommended provider for Home Insurance 2019. Find out more at johnlewisfinance.com. Home insurance from John Lewis Finance. Excess and exclusions apply.
Well, good morning. Green arrows to start the new quarter as the bulls simply continue to run. Stocks having their best year since Titanic and Boogie Nights rocked the movie theaters. Well, what's next? Massive military demonstrations in Beijing today as China celebrates its 70th anniversary under communist rule. But in Hong Kong, clashes, not celebrations, as protesters hit the streets once again. And just go. Now, Amazon looking to revolutionize the way we all pay for things. It is Tuesday, October 1st, and you're watching Worldwide Exchange right here on CNBC. right, good morning and welcome back. It is 5:32 here in the East Coast. Thanks for being with us on CNBC. I am Brian Sullivan. Welcome to the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter certainly looks like it could continue the big streak that we have been on this year, because Dow futures right now, they are higher, nearly up 100 points. So why do we say big streak? Because it has been a year to remember for stocks and many other asset classes, by the way. The S&P 500 jumping 19% in the first 9 months of the year. That is the best performance in the first 3 quarters of any year since all the way back in 1997. Also, it is the first time since then that the total return, that's gains plus dividends, was more than 20%. And check this out. More than 30 stocks in the S&P 500 this year are up more than 50%.
These deals before they're gone.
So who exactly is the best of the best? Well, you're going to stay tuned to find out. We're going to have the top 5 coming up for you in just a couple of minutes. Bonds have also done well this year. Yields have come down. The yields of the 10-year at 1.75% right now. Well, as always, more in the markets and your money ahead. But we got to get to China's big day. A military parade commemorated the 70th anniversary of Chinese Communist Party rule. And in a speech, President Xi Jinping said that no force, in his words, could, quote, shake the foundation of the nation. A much different picture in Hong Kong, where anti-government protests are turning violent once again. So what should an investor make of all these headlines coming out of the region? Let us ask our guest, Patrick Chovanec. He is Silvercrest Asset Management Chief Strategist. And Patrick, I know you probably went to school to learn how to manage money, not to be some sort of China political expert, but is there any way to analyze the overall markets and not pay attention to all the things that are happening with the trade war and the protests in Hong Kong?
Well, I actually did spend much of my life in China, about 10 years before.
I learned that right now live on, this is called Surprised Face.
Before joining Silvercrest. And you know, what's going on right now is a growing gulf between the United States and China. And it's not just over trade. It's over security issues. It's over human rights. And it's something that is going to shape our investment outlook going forward. Even if there's a deal between the United States and China, this growing gulf, and it's bipartisan, it's not just based upon the president's policies. There is, and it's between the 2 largest economies in the world. So it's something that we're watching with concern.
Listen, Patrick, honestly, I had no idea. Why did you grow up in China?
I didn't grow up in China. I spent much of my career in China.
Oh, you were like an adult, a grown man.
Yes, but my first visit to China was in 1986 when I was 16 years old. So
okay.
I've seen China change a great deal over the years.
Well, I ask about the age because if you'd grown up there as a kid, it might be one thing because you come at it from a child's perspective. But you were there as an adult. You were there ostensibly working or learning or both. And so from your perspective, then getting to know the Chinese people, maybe getting to know how the Chinese government thinks, what do you think? How much do they simply dig in here? They are not a country that bows to pressure because their timeline is not in decades, it's in centuries.
So when Xi Jinping took power several years ago, he actually came out with a whole list of reforms called the Third Plenum Document, which was going to make the market decisive. And a lot of people welcomed it because they viewed it as long overdue attempts to try to shift the Chinese economy in a more productive direction. Very little of that has happened. And in fact, it's because they have a very short-term perspective, actually. They're trying to shore up support. They're trying to shore up the economy. And they're letting a lot of their longer-term goals slide as a result. And the concern is that China has gone in a direction that is not just more authoritarian, but also and not just more assertive on the world stage in ways that might threaten the United States, but also that move the economy in the wrong direction, away from reform and more towards piling up the kind of imbalances that already exist in China's economy. So it's really a concerning picture.
We know just it certainly is, Patrick. So quickly, and your best guess, how does it play out? We get a deal this year, next year, ever?